Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's Thursday morning, the 28th of March, and this is day 32, I think, of 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers from Hendersonville in Tennessee being missing. In this video, we're going to talk about the dispatch call. We're also going to talk about some paperwork that someone has got their hands on relating to Katie Proudfoot's and Seth Rogers' divorce. And we're going to try to incorporate that into the story that we know so far. Let's go. All right, so we know very few facts about this case. The TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, are remaining very tight-lipped. We've not had a press conference since they told us that they were scaling back the acute search, the search on the ground. We've seen from Nick Barris the graphic that they have in the kind of war room, if you will, at the Sumner County AMA. They've done a lot of searching in a short space of time. They've covered a 5-mile radius. This is what a 5-mile radius looks like. So 5 miles in all directions. That's the acute search area. That's what they covered in the 8 days before they decided to scale it right back and they just do targeted searches now. Takes us down as far as the Cumberland River. There is a creek that runs past Sebastian's school that feeds into this. That's the acute search area, and it's pretty impressive. They've looked at all waterways in that vicinity. They've drained ponds. They've looked in people's pools because Sebastian is drawn to water, allegedly. We know that they've used drones, helicopters, planes. They've done thermal imaging. They've had so many boots on the ground and people on horseback that collectively they covered 2,000 miles collectively in 8 days. But they switched it to an investigation. What that means, what that looks like, I don't know. But leads and tips are still coming in. So people who are saying this is going to be a cold case soon, no. Until there's absolutely no leads, absolutely nothing to follow up on, we don't consider any case to be a cold case. Now, let's listen to the dispatch call. So I'm playing this from True Crime with Eve, although a bunch of other channels have also played it. It's 3 minutes long, but I am going to stop it. I've listened to this about 5 gazillion times now, and I think I've got most of what they say. You have to kind of tune your ears in to what they say. So let's go.
Do we have an estimated time of start for the search process?
So do we have an estimated time for the start of the search process?
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Call came in at 6:33 this morning. Now, that's interesting. I was always under the impression that the call was made at 6:39. I've heard that somewhere. I don't know where. Chris Proudfoot said on Nancy Grace that they rang about 6:20. So we've got to split the difference here. 6:33. So we've got an absolute time. I do love a good timeline. And when we've got an absolute time from law enforcement, then we go with that. So 6:33 for the call to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Having missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court.
So missing juvenile, Stafford Court.
08 Stafford Court, Hendersonville.
I think they said 008 Stafford Court. It's 1008 Stafford Court.
Guys, this morning they woke up and their 15-year-old male was not in the bed. Yeah.
So 15-year-old male something.
Now, 3 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 120 pounds.
So those are his descriptors. 5'5", 110 pounds or 120 pounds. It's 120 pounds on the Amber Alert.
I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants.
So black shirt, black sweatpants.
Female does have a form of autism.
Didn't catch that.
This is the first time it happened. Rat's going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
The first time it's happened, all the doors were locked or something.
10-4 in the room. 47. I asked the call taker to ask if the juvenile has a phone. Break. Central to 68. I am Mrs. Fire Call. It is.
Don't catch that.
Central to 47 184 and 12. Juvenile left his son at the house. The mother is driving around looking for him in the Victoria Place subdivision, and she is driving a baby blue Infiniti.
So the mother's driving around the subdivision, driving a baby blue Infiniti. So we know she has an Infiniti SUV.
In the area. Check long haul houses. See what. You can take me off the assist fire. I'll be en route to the missing juvenile. Next big track back up. Going into the construction site over here back towards beach.
So we're tracking the construction site back towards beach. So back towards Beach High School, which is just next to the construction site. That's where Sebastian goes to school. So it's less than a mile to his school. And apparently Katie Proudfoot, Sebastian's mother, drove to the school to see if he, I don't know, got up early and gone to school and was waiting outside school or something strange like that. But obviously he wasn't. But this guy here on the dispatch call is trekking the construction site and he's heading back towards beach.
It's a one behind you. It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything?
Awful muddy. Do you see any footprints or anything?
Have any shoes on?
Didn't have any shoes on.
Hard pack.
Hard
I
pack.
do have some footprints over here.
Got some footprints over here.
Right there where you're standing?
Right there where you're standing.
Yeah. Leading right over here to the retaining pond.
Yeah, leading right here to the retaining pond. And we know that the dogs did track Sebastian's scent to the construction site to a retention pond. We know this. Guys, I know that it's really confusing. I talked about that in my live stream yesterday, but it's not just Katie and Chris Proudfoot who have made up that there was a dog track. Law enforcement have told us, despite what was said on News Channel 5, that same guy from Sumner County EMA told us on February 29th that there was a dog track. Listen, I'll play it for you right here. This is February 29th. And this is the press conference. They're answering questions. Listen to this.
As the video comes in, our detectives, we're working really well alongside the TBI and all of our other law enforcement partners in the region to make sure that we're getting on them just as quickly as possible.
But there hasn't been one video that you guys have had that you said that's...
There's not a confirmed sighting of Sebastian on camera.
Gotcha.
Was any of the canines able to pick up on his scent or something that can lead you to maybe a direction where he might have been?
We've done that. We've actually cast the dogs at intersections to see if they take us. And our dogs are scent specific, and we have scent articles from the home, and they have not. We have gotten some tracks away from the home, and we haven't had anything that leads us to Sebastian.
So there you go. They are scent specific. They're live scent tracking dogs. They took them to intersections to see whether they could pick up a track in one direction or another. But then he said, we got some tracks away from the home. And it was Seth that told us, it was Seth who said it was to the construction site. He'd heard it from a dog handler or someone from law enforcement who was handling one of the dogs. So it did happen. It did happen. I'm not making this up. It did happen. Back to this dispatch call, though, and the footprints.
No shoes, just footprints?
No shoes, just footprints.
The shoes, the Max went straight into the pond.
So shoes something, I didn't catch that.
Max led me straight to the retaining pond.
Heading straight to the retaining pond.
Willow Boulevard, he dove right into the water.
Over by Willow Boulevard and straight into the water. Willow Boulevard might not be a thing yet. There we go. Willow Boulevard, there. Willow Boulevard Drive. So this is now construction itself. Like, this is all clay. A lot of this is all built in now, and people are living here. So it was right at the back here, and there was a retention pond. You can't see a retention pond on this because I think this is something like July 2023, or it's a few months ago anyway. But yeah, Willow Boulevard, so it was here. It was right here. Listen to that again.
Next, let me straight to the retaining pond. Over behind Willow Boulevard, we go right into the water.
So over behind Willow Boulevard, going straight into the water. But they drained that pond. It wasn't deep, but they drained it anyway, and there was nothing there.
Yeah, but you see me branch around it. There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt. Headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
So a few footprints here in the softer dirt. Something about the track he was running.
Headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Heading straight this way on the track he was running. So I don't know whether they know he was running. It wasn't ever on camera. Whether it looked like footprints that looked like a running gait, or whether that's just a turn of phrase.
47, what size shoes does he wear?
What size shoes does he wear?
Size 10s.
Size 10s. Were those Sebastian's footprints? We know that dog track. We know from Seth, not just Katie and Chris. We know from law enforcement that they got tracks away from the home. We've heard from Seth that these tracks were at the construction site near the retention pond, and they drained the pond. We know this from Seth. Is Seth going to lie? He's been out there for the last 4 weeks looking for Sebastian. Is he lying as well? I don't know. It's all fine having speculations and theories, but they do have to fit with the few facts we know. If they don't fit with the few facts we know, then we've got a problem, Houston. But people have said, well, why did Sebastian run away? Well, thousands of kids run away every year from abusive situations, from trouble in the home. And people say, well, why didn't Sebastian just ring his dad? Maybe he thought he'd be in trouble with his dad. Now, these papers that have come from the divorce of Seth and Katie show us that this divorce was pretty nasty. Katie made some terrible claims about what Seth did to Sebastian. I mean, listen to this. Since returning from deployment in December, this is from 2016, I have witnessed a multitude of events from Seth. I have seen him hit Sebastian in the head, neck and back. I have witnessed him, when taking his hand out on Sebastian, grab him with both hands, lift his entire body up and slam him, then proceed to beat him. He has on many occasions whipped him with a belt. What is the thing with a belt? Not paying attention to where he was hitting him because he was so angry. My neighbours informed me that during my duty days, they have seen Sebastian on multiple occasions coming outside the home crying and looking for his dad because he has been gone for long periods of time and didn't know where he was. They told my son to go inside and lock the door when this occurred. Seth will on a regular basis just walk into the living room and get naked, not caring that Sebastian is in the area, and seen this on several occasions when Sebastian expressed stress or anxiety about our separation or his daddy's anger. He would respond by telling Sebastian that this is all because Mummy doesn't love Daddy anymore. School teachers have requested that the principal be present any time that Seth was due to him making them uncomfortable. When he went to the school to meet his teacher before the school year had started, we just finished explaining about Sebastian's diagnosis and about the fluid on his brain, and he did something to irritate his father, who then responded by hitting him in the head in front of his teacher. And when I addressed him about it and told him he cannot do this and cannot keep doing that because it's wrong, and he told me it wasn't that hard and he's fine and people need to stop telling him how to raise his son. So It goes on. But now, look, a teacher's witnessed this, neighbours have witnessed this. All right, well, where are those statements? I'm not saying she's lying, but Seth completely denies this. So this is his statements. As a result of these baseless allegations, I respectfully request the court deny Katie's request for a permanent domestic violence restraining order. There is no basis for her claims, and she fails to prove conduct under the Domestic Violence Prevention Act that would justify a restraining order. So what actually happened on this day when Katie says he beat Sebastian, what actually happened on this day is I was having a difficult time with our son. He refused to do anything I asked of him. I asked him to clean his room and he replied no. Now remember, this is 2016, so that's 8 years ago. Sebastian would have been 7. He didn't have to listen to me or do anything I asked him to do, and he told me I should apologise for asking him to clean his room. Oh dear. I attempted to appropriately disciplining him by sternly telling him that under no circumstances should he ever speak to any adult, let alone his mother or father, that way. After this, Sebastian ran down the stairs to Katie, jumped on her lap and started saying he hated me and that he wished I would leave and never come back. After Sebastian seemed to calm down a bit, Katie got up from the chair she was in, walked outside, and Sebastian approached me and told me he loved me and wanted to live with me after all. So says he was never violent in any way. So it's a he said, she said situation. We don't know who's telling the truth or whether they can meet in the middle somewhere, that there's some truth in both accounts. But these are official court documents made under, threat of perjury and blah, blah, blah. So he said, although we argued I never acted violently and never once did I encourage her to beat our son, as she alleges in her pleadings. During our arguments, I left the resident and slammed the door, but her claim that I broke the door is false. The door was already broken before I slammed it. Our son suffers from the rare condition called 6q27 chromosomal deletion syndrome. Amongst the symptoms he suffers from are incidents of acting out, where he hits and bites himself out of frustration. He has been known to throw himself to the ground during these incidents. It's a very common thing for him, and others have witnessed him doing this. I have filed herewith declarations from some of these witnesses. So I haven't seen the witness accounts. I don't know whether they've been published or not. So Sebastian suffered an episode in which he hurt himself out of frustration. I had told him that day if he cleaned his room, he could go swimming. I asked him if his room was clean, and he replied it wasn't. I told him he couldn't go swimming until it was clean. Sebastian reacted by flying into a rage, screaming, hitting himself and biting himself, trying to throw himself to the floor. I reached out to catch him before his head hit the door frame. At no time did I ever hit him or display any violent actions towards him at all. Katie never called the police. Katie never took Sebastian for any medical care as a result of this alleged incident. To be fair, neither did he, or that we know about. Katie never took any action whatsoever consistent with a parent whose child has been abused. Katie's allegations that I abused Sebastian in any way is completely false. So it's a he said, she said. I don't know which account to believe. I rather suspect there's a little grain of truth in both of them. I simply don't know. What we do know is that Sebastian has witnessed a lot of friction, a lot of, really nasty behaviour between all the adults in his life. Some of it directed towards him. We've got Chris admitting that he hit Sebastian with a belt. I think that that's the tip of the iceberg. So if Sebastian ran away, perhaps he had good reason. And maybe he didn't want to go to his dad's because he thought he'd be in trouble. And he's run away. And maybe he's out there somewhere. Do you know what? I had a dream last night about Sebastian. I dreamt he'd gone to Nashville and was living in a homeless camp in Nashville. Now, look, guys. I think my brain, I don't think this is a prophecy or a premonition or anything like that. I think my brain has combined the Sebastian case, which is near Nashville, and then the Riley Strain case. And obviously there was a homeless camp there, right where Riley Strain fell in the river. By the way, Riley Strain's autopsy, not got the autopsy report, but if you've been following that case, this is an aside, Riley was found with no pants on and no boots on. That's perfectly normal in a fast-flowing, high-current river for items of clothing, especially footwear, because once the water gets in, it just drags them out, because you're just being dragged downstream, and the water just drags the boots off. And his pants, if his pants were on the loose side, then same thing will happen, especially as decomposition begins. You're going to get skin slippage, and it's easier for some items of clothing to come off. So doesn't indicate foul play to me, in my opinion, and that's a perfectly usual thing to happen. And there was no water in his lungs. Now, 10 to 15% of people who drown do not have water in the lungs. Some studies will suggest it's even higher than that. It's due to a laryngeal spasm in the throat, basically blocks the airway, and you dry drown. You die, not because of water in your lungs, but because you can't breathe. It's just a thing that the body does to enter in water. So, yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think about Sebastian's case. Let me know what you think about Riley's case and the new details from the autopsy. And I will see you later. Bye, guys.